Welcome to the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast, where you learn the best doubles lessons to improve your game and win more matches while getting to know some of the top doubles players and coaches on the planet. I'm your host, Will Bochek. This podcast, my weekly strategy newsletter, and my website all focus on the goal of better understanding the sport of doubles and helping players like you improve faster through actionable advice that you can use in your very next match. My goal is to provide the best doubles resources in the world. And to do that, I study, analyze, and work with players at every level of the game, all the way up to the ATP and WTA tours. If you enjoy this podcast, consider becoming a Tennis Tribe member to go even deeper and take your doubles IQ to the next level. Members get access to premium podcast episodes, weekly video lessons, monthly strategy webinars, courses, ebooks, gear discounts, and a lot more. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to see all the benefits and sign up. Here's today's episode. This is the final interview with Tennis Tribe doubles beat writer Hanlon Walsh from the Cincinnati Open. This time he sits down with one of our favorite podcast guests, Dan Kiernan. Dan was in Cincinnati coaching two different players, Gaby Dabrowski and Andre Goranson, and they started out talking about how he balances his role as the coach of a ATP player and a WTA player, and then also balancing his job running an academy in Spain, back home. He's also a podcaster. He has one of my favorite podcasts, Control the Controllables. So Dan wears a lot of different hats, and they chat about how he balances all of that. They dive into how Gaby and Andre decide which events to play and with who. And then after that, Hanlon asks Dan to compare Gaby's partnership with Erin Routliffe over the past 2.5 years, having won 2 U.S. Open titles, to her new partner this year, Luisa Stefani. So that was a really fascinating answer as well. After that, Dan shares his 105% rule and how to win a Grand Slam in doubles. They discuss why teams stick together and why teams break up. And he uses this phrase that I like a lot called assumption-based communication, and he discusses why that is actually a very dangerous thing in a doubles partnership. And when I heard that, I thought of tons of club-level doubles teams. So if you are trying to become a better doubles partner, which you should be, definitely listen to that part of this conversation. And then at the end, they talk about the state of the top of the WTA doubles tour, as well as the state of men's doubles, a little bit on the singles versus doubles rivalry that has been created on the men's side, and then Henry Patton's role as the, quote, prime minister of men's doubles. So this is a fun conversation, about 30 minutes or so. I really enjoyed listening to it. I always love hearing from Dan, and Hanlon did a great job of conducting this interview. So without further delay, enjoy this chat with Hanlon Walsh and Dan Kiernan.
All right, so Dan, tell me how you've been balancing coaching duties with Gaby and Andre this week and just throughout the year so far.
Well, actually, luckily, one of them likes to get up early and one of them doesn't.
Who's the morning person?
I'll let people guess. Let people guess on that. But yeah, so that's I guess it's now about 3 or 4 years that I've worked with the ATP team and the WTA team. And I guess that word, actually, team's quite an important word, because I think a lot of, certainly myself, my background in doubles, college, we don't get a lot of team feeling in tennis. It can be quite individual, and it can be quite, whereas actually, I think all the players that I've worked with, they've enjoyed that team element as well. Like having, the girls coming to watch the boys, the boys coming to watch the girls, sharing like...
Are you on a group text with all of them at the same time?
I am. So, everyone gets on well. So because of that, and again, this would be the other thing I'd say on doubles. Most doubles players are very reasonable. Mm-hmm. A lot of them have gone to college, they're a little bit more mature. They've got maybe a little bit more empathy towards other people. So there's never been an issue But what I also do have is I've got some kind of strong protocols in place if something does happen where they play at the same time, or certain communications around practices. And I've always had the priority goes to the team I go with the longest. So originally that was what Glasgow and
Yeah.
So when I first started with Gaby, it was actually the first US Open Gaby and Erin played. Their second round, I was with Harry and Lloyd because they're all at the same time, and I got to their court.
Well, coaching incest there.
Yeah, so it got their 3-0 in the third set, like 40 down, down the serve actually. So there is sometimes that happens more at the slams than anywhere. Most of the ATP WTA combined events, you put the request in and they know you'll keep them separate.
Yeah.
Whereas the slams, like this year French Open, I actually had 3 teams on at the same time.
Oh, wow. Wait, who is the third?
So Pete Harper,
Okay.
a young Canadian guy. So he got into, he's helping him kind of more remotely than anything, but we've helped him for that a year.
Okay.
And I put my request in. It was 3 days of doubles, first rounds. I looked at the Wednesday schedule, nobody was on. So, okay. Looked at the Thursday schedule, all 3
for 1 special.
and then 11 a.m.
Oh, gosh.
So those are the things you don't want to be dealing with those things in the moment.
Yeah.
Which is why having that all kind of put out beforehand, then you just go into protocol.
Yeah.
Rather than, oh, by the way, guys, what should we do about this? That's the last thing a player needs when they're preparing for a match. So all in all, it works well. It complements pretty well. It doesn't complement as well after the US Open because there's less combined events.
Yeah.
So US Open onwards gets a little bit trickier. But I guess, I don't like to use the word priority, but I guess Gaby I've been with for a long time now. So Andre also understands that I'm there to help him, but I'm really well weeks that I'm already there with Gaby and Lloyd and his wife.
Is it kind of based on like the retention of your player? I mean, like working at our firm, like if I'm just thinking about it in our shoes, like when we have longer clients, the oldest client always gets the priority over if we have like any conflicts of interest. So it's similar to
that's really the way that we've done it.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way. Like I know Louis Kaya as an example. He's got a bigger issue than me because he often has kind of 7 or 8 British players at these events, and he does it on ranking.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask with that. I don't know if that was part of it too.
Well, I think my setup's a private setup. That's a federation setup.
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
So that's very different. So
makes more sense, I guess, from federation standpoint.
It does. But look, ultimately, all the players know I'm available 24/7.
Yeah.
I'm here for them. If that means I'm giving them a very, very early session and a very late session. The same obviously with the scouting, the same with all of that. I think they know by now that I'm professional and I'm very connected to them, trying to do the best they can. And that's what my job as a coach is, right? Is to add value to their journeys. So I think there's enough trust there now, connection, that we never have any issues. With it, even, like I said, we have some fun from a social standpoint.
Yeah.
Our team's a bit bigger and we all get on great. And I don't think it would work, and I don't think I would do it if it wasn't the case. That's part of the process of me going into these relationships, is that I know that we're like-minded, we've got similar values, we're on that same wavelength. Because the last thing I want to be is just a mercenary who's there to carry the bags and say a few words to a person I don't really like or get on with.
Yeah.
That's not really my jam. But a lot more than enough going on in my world to not need to do it for
that makes sense.
Outside of that.
Well, how do you are you with them like on the non-slam and masters weeks, like the 250s and 500s, or how does that work from a week's on tour standpoint?
Sometimes, look, it's kind of my secondary job.
Because you have your academy, right?
The academy of Spain, so it's not a tennis academy.
And the podcast.
And I've got a podcast, which obviously that's more of a kind of fun side thing.
I enjoy your roundtables. Also, I listen to some of those too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, look, I love doing that, and I take a lot from those, and personally, I take a lot from just those conversations, and feel lucky to have these conversations in tennis, really, with good tennis people. And if other people enjoy them, brilliant as well. But there's no financial gain from that. That's more of a thing that I just love doing, and I love having the opportunity to have those conversations. In terms of ask the question at the 250 to 500, I pretty much am doing every Grand Slam and Masters in the Marco 1000 events. And I don't assume they ever want me. Yeah. So at the end of every event, it's like, you guys ask me if you want me to go. Like, I'm not arrogant enough to sit there and think they want me to go there because it's their hard-earned cash, and they don't. It's not for me to assume that I'm going to add value. So when we kind of break it down into probably 5 or 6 conversations a year, okay, this next period, what works out best, what's your priority?
And between the different swings of it.
Absolutely, so I asked Gaby after Wimbledon or around Wimbledon time, what's her priority? And I know that the priority was around US Open, and then the mixed doubles at US Open, and then if possible Cincinnati. And then a couple of days later, actually is Toronto possible as well. But it was kind of an older requirement that she was giving me. In the end, I couldn't go to Toronto for personal reasons, but it's getting that right balance. But the grass folks, we both want to reach me around for some of the 250s, 500s as preparation, for Wimbledon. I've been with Gaby now over 3 years, and we know what she likes and how she prepares. So Gaby looks at it a little bit less. Gaby's not looking at points. The right not to. That's not her. Gaby's looking to prepare to win the bigger races. So that was why the event as an example, we went to the 250 and explored along in the 500 and 500 because it doesn't matter if it's 250 or 500. She prefers being in England, less travel, similar conditions to Wimbledon. So when we go to that event, whereas maybe a player a little bit more on the rank just Andre is in.
So where's Andre ranked? It's like the 40s, 30s, 40s.
He's done only the 45 on the start and was that 40 right now. Okay. But he's on that cusp where he has to be a little bit more smart in terms of, okay, I need to be able to do that without obviously that taking over his performance as well. So there's no golden rule. This year, me and Gaby, so that the first 3 times Doha, Dubai, and I'm not saying this because of me, but just after Australia, we didn't get it right. She went to Doha, Dubai without myself and the full team, and she didn't win a match in 2 years. So that this year we prioritised Doha and Dubai as right, okay, to have conversations with my wife and family and the academy. But we're going to go after Australia, we're going to go to Doha, Dubai and see if we can really do that right. Mm-hmm. And she went 7s and then won Dubai this year. So it's constantly making those shifts on where the best use of time is, whilst also understanding that over 12 months, it's a long 12 months. Yeah. If you're going to keep in your tournaments, you also need to take your time where you're not going to maybe be performing at your very best. So that how do you take your 3 or 4 weeks rest here? How do you take the time to look after your body here? Yeah. And it's that ever-evolving situation, really, which is the fun part of the job as well, I think, trying to find solutions to those potential problems.
How would you compare the difference between, like, Gaby and Erin and their playing style and, like, how you coach them versus Gaby and Luisa Stefani, her current partner?
Good question, that is. It's a good question that's difficult to answer without one insulting and two giving it away. Look, I think fundamentally there's a lot of big similarities. Yeah. So if the way that I guess would look at tennis, I would break it down into serve games and return games. And ultimately I talk about this 105% rule. So without going into every single detail, I know the percentage of service games plus return games you need to be winning a Grand Slam. And that will differ with game styles. So if you've got returners, more pure returners, or let's say you've got an Ostapenko playing with a Sue, they're probably going to break serve more and get broken more. So win a slam, it's around 115 or 118% of the games that you should be winning. of serve plus return. So when Stefani wants to win, maybe they're holding 70% and breaking 48, something like that. Whereas I would say Gaby and Erin's numbers are very similar to what Gaby and Louisa's numbers are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so we know that they need to be holding serve X amount of times. So I would say from a service game standpoint, it's very similar.
Yeah.
You know that, big serve volleyers serve well in the sports play, probably more men's type doubles of the service games.
Yeah, more traditional rush to net.
Yes, and
Brick wall at the net.
getting touch as a service partner. You know, I saw Gaby play with Alexandrova last week, and it's completely different. You know, so like if Gaby was to play with Alexandrova, who's a fantastic tennis player, that would be like a big shift in terms of right, how do we strategically work here? And we'll find solutions.
Yeah.
You know, in the space of 24 hours, it's not so easy to do. Whereas the change from Erin and Gaby to Louisa and Gaby really is not a big sea change. You know, there's certain areas that Louisa brings that maybe Erin didn't, you know, statistically. You know, I'm big on that side of things to take the emotion out. And there's certain things that maybe Erin did that Louisa didn't. So there has been some adjustments. You know, but I think overarchingly, really quite similar.
Yeah.
Or in game style, you then obviously have different personalities, you have different practice styles, you have, you know, different coaches in the team, you have different friends that are part of the team. These are the things, the unseen things.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
The social aspects and the behind the scenes pieces.
energy, how they like to warm up for matches. Like Erin and Gaby didn't used to, people thought it so they didn't get on. I mean, Erin and Gaby are like really close friends. Always were. You know, and that's amazing. Now they've got a beautiful relationship still.
Yeah.
But last year US Open, they didn't warm up once together before matches. And everyone said, oh, you must hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
They like to practice, warm up at different times.
Yeah.
Their warm up for matches is a little bit different. One might want to be a bit more relaxed, one a bit more intense, one a bit longer, one a bit less. So as a coach, you're adapting to those situations, and ultimately the job, even on doubles, the job in terms of is Gaby fully prepared, and is Louisa fully prepared?
Mm-hmm.
How they prepare might be a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then are they prepared together as a team?
Yeah. So it's interesting to see how they practice, how doubles players practice separately and together.
Yeah, and look, over the course of 12 months, I don't know if you're married or if you've got a partner, we all need our space sometimes. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, I love my wife.
That's why I'm here this weekend. My partner's at home. It's my solo time. So, yeah.
And look, we all need those bits. That doesn't mean that, we get this off. They must hate each other. They're not spending time. They're sitting on separate tables.
Yeah.
It's just challenge. And we will have some weeks where, and I said, Gaby and Louisa are great at this. It might be like, this week, I'm just feeling a bit down. And there's a lot of vulnerability in our team now. We're all very honest on things. So it's like, you know what, this week, there's nothing wrong. I just need a little bit more space this week. I'm probably not going to do as many dinners. So the defense by it. I'm probably going to just treat myself a little bit more to myself. You know, all that's good, and everyone respects each other. That level of communication, I think, is also vitally important to any team. You know, that's not just specific to doubles or to tennis. That's a life thing, right? You know, and having the understanding and the empathy, and you know, these are skills for me that are never really talked about, but are unbelievably impactful to what makes a successful doubles team. And I think it's also why we see some of the doubles teams splitting up, because they don't have those skills, or they don't have someone in their team that's got those skills to be able to actually have real communication.
Like the social and emotional IQ skills off the court.
It's massive. So then people...
Do you feel like that's why more teams break up than like on-court performance?
Yes, massive. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think on-court performance will paper over a lot of cracks.
Yeah.
If you're winning, you will paper over cracks. But to be sustainable over a period of time, and to win over 2-3 year period, unless you're just really, really, really good, like if you take, I don't know, I'll just probably Ostapenko as an example. Like Ostapenko is just so good that actually stick her on court with someone who she hates and they hate her. for a period of time, it probably doesn't matter, right?
Yeah,
because
she's zoning.
she's just hitting winners.
Yeah.
Left, right, and centre. But if you're going to be,
It's fun to watch.
if you're going to be a doubles team, that's a legit kind of double specialist team, you have to get all those other things right.
Yeah.
To have sustainable success. And I think a lot of teams on both men's and women's side, they will have assumption-based communication. They will lose a couple of matches, they'll assume that person thinks that is doing that, and rather than having full conflict and having some highly emotional IQ conversations, they'll just go, no, well, they clearly think that and they're doing that.
Yeah.
That's not how I am, so why? And then the second thing I'd say, like, a lot of people split up is, this has happened with Andre and Evan King recently. They got on great, they had a relatively successful short period, but they're just not going to get in the tournaments.
Yeah, just the rankings don't add up. Yeah.
So sometimes it just is not,
Was that what Andre's playing with Casper this week?
Yeah,
Singles ranking?
for him to get in and play in Montreal, it was how he got in.
Oh, yeah.
To get into the events, he had to find somebody who had a high ranking. All the doubles players and those rankings are already matched out.
Yeah.
So he's in that kind of cusp of where you have to jump a little bit to be getting into the 1,000. So all the 500, 1,000.
Yeah. Was it an easy yes for Casper to play doubles?
Yeah, well, I think with Casper, they make qualifiers or doubles in a few years ago.
Okay.
The Scandinavians, they understand each
They
other.
stick together, yeah, culturally. Yeah.
They do. They understand each other. Casper's a good guy, Andre's a good guy. There's a mutual respect in that relationship. And Andre spoke to him a few weeks ago and fair play to Casper, like, he's a professional and he said, yes, I want to play, and he's played. And he's, obviously this week, let's see how it unfolds. But certainly in Montreal, he played. They obviously had a good win in the first round. They had set points against one of our partners in the second round. They played well together. Casper was fully invested, and it's a nice opportunity for Andre to have that to get into the events. You're perfect to think about partner and getting in all the events, and that's almost the reward for being consistently good. Like, I'd be lucky as a coach, Gaby and Erin, I never ever even thought about entering a tournament or who you might play with, because they were one of the top two seeds in every tournament. And the same with Gaby and Luisa. Whereas with Andre, that's been a bit of a shift for me, actually, where it's like, shit, can you get in?
Yeah.
And oh my God, we got to think about who your partner might be, and I'm like, oh my God, this is a whole different thought process. That actually I don't like as much as a coach.
Yeah.
Because I prefer to just be working on getting better at tennis and
the math and numbers game and all the points, and there's a lot to juggle, I'm sure.
That's not
And you're on the border, especially. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's a lot of people that maybe do that. And, I'll ask my tennis if we can.
Can you talk a little bit more about Gaby and her, like, just if you have a few, let's see, we're almost at 20 minutes. Like Gaby, I mean, because it's interesting. It feels like Gaby has been like such a constant, like, top two team both with Erin and Luisa, and then butting up against Siniakova and Townsend, and just like, do you feel like the 3 or 4 of them are kind of on their own little island compared to the rest of the 4, or like how would you assess just the state of like the top WTA doubles game right now, and the teams and the individuals that are?
I think consistently, yes, I do. I think, however, I wouldn't quite. I don't think it's a Sinner or Carras situation.
Yeah.
I think we saw them in the final, and then maybe Gaby and Luisa didn't play their best final. Donald Mladenovic stepped up big time, in particular. And I think that's a 10th Grand Slam which he's won. So I think there's teams out there. I mean, obviously, Danilina Kulic deserve a lot of credit for how I know they've went forward off
big first half of the year, yeah.
But I think they'll be back. I mean, I think they're a very, very good team, and I think Jeff coaches them does a great job. And I think women's doubles is in a very healthy situation, actually. And, when you look at it, I do think the Grand Slams tend to bring out the better teams.
Yeah.
Because of the stories.
I've noticed that too, yeah.
And that's, I don't like to talk openly about Gaby's Grand Slam record the last 3 years. It was very impressive. We don't want to put the kiss of death on it. So, but I do think that format naturally does help the better teams. You know, I think it takes a lot. I think it takes quite a lot to beat those better teams in that format. Whereas it's a bit of a crapshoot at these 1,500 events. Like
15, 11, and the third set breakers.
Even when Indonesia and Gaby, they lost one match on the grass before Wimbledon, and it was to Robic and Kessler. And obviously, Robic is a great player, Kessler's a great player. But in the first set, they lost the first set 6-3, but I think they had 12 break points in the first set.
Oh, yeah.
And lost basically 5-7 pieces. You know, and it's like,
brutal.
It's you have to embrace the format. That's not an excuse, but it's just, if you build that pressure of slam within the slams, you tend to come out on top.
Yeah.
You know, you don't tend to come out going, how we lost that one? Really in this, you know, in that format. You know? So no, look, I mean, Cincinnati Open Townsend, I think deservedly have talked about as the best team in the world, and I think you know they are on paper. You know, they haven't won as many Grand Slams as people think.
Yeah.
When you look back at their
they had a big drought in some of the years.
Exactly. So I mean, I know what this year they won French. Did they won more this year and last year? Did they
I think they won the Aussie and then didn't win anything.
Yeah. So it's they're also very level.
Yeah.
You know, I know Erin and Gaby had a pretty good record against them. I think maybe it was 3-2 or 3-3. They only played in big matches. Gaby and Luisa played them twice this year. Had them beaten really in the Miami set breakup in Miami semis, and just dropped their level at the wrong moment. And then I was going to get a kicking at French Open, but that was on that day. There was a couple of things that weren't quite right and anti-illness-wise. And they smelt worse, and they're fantastic, you know. And so I think they rightly so are probably giving themselves that edge of being the team. Yeah, you know. And I think if anyone's looking at the draw, they're probably going over the ones for the actual founder, I would guess. First and foremost, you know, I would say Gaby and Luisa are a team that they show up every week. Yeah, you know, and that's. But they may not quite have the same firepower as Cincinnati Open Townsend, you know.
They seem like a clear number 2 team right now, though.
I think so. I mean, I think, you know, like I say, Damanina and Krunic, you would say probably were the number 2 team for the first few months of the year. And I think Gaby and Luisa put themselves probably into that position. You know, obviously around the Calvini, we're not seeing really right now. You know, which I think is a team that certainly for a couple of years by right to be right up there. I've seen yesterday Stephen was taking a little break from tennis.
I saw that, yeah.
You know, watch out as well though for Erin and Routliffe.
Yeah, it's good to see Erin playing well again. Like
that was, I'm not saying that she's playing well because I told her, but that when we had I still downgrade with Erin in the conversation that I had with her. I know she was looking really good, and I always felt that was a nice match. Yeah. You know, and I think they're
SEC team, former SEC team too, right?
I think there's real potential in those guys. Erin's a confident player, and Erin will be back. She's a class act. Yeah. You know, she hasn't had the best year, but she will. You know, they're starting to show a form. Obviously, puts Melakov had a fantastic year, and I think a lot of it's matchups, right? I think puts them as a perfect funnel for Melakov. Yeah. You know, they match up very well. And then it's not surprising to me also think those two Chicago. Yeah. You know, they're a fine team. They have a love-hate relationship. You don't know any ins and outs, but it's almost like they could do 3 or 4 months together without taking a break. But they're very good. I mean, they are. How
can be more complimentary?
They're a very, very dangerous team. And there's lots. And actually, I said this morning, I look at the 1,000 events now, and I'm like, geez. Like, even 3 years ago, I used to look and go, that's a good draw.
Yeah, this raw is stacked, and Cincy, there's no second one. Yeah.
It's like, look at that first round, look at that first round, look at that first round. Wow, obviously Dwayne Milanovic, they're the world champions, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
So I think it's exciting. I think it'll be an interesting Cincy, an interesting US Open. WTA finals, are also going back to the States as well.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I couldn't make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm hearing ticket sales are going well.
Yeah.
I've heard there's going to be a nice buzz around this. So I think women's doubles is a big place.
Any final thoughts on men's doubles right now? Just on the landscape or the teams or changes or anything?
Obviously, men's doubles we could talk about for hours. Certainly everything that's going on right now. I think in some ways with everything going on that's out a little bit of spark.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of part of one of my reflections of the last few weeks is all of this conversation around where it fits and suits. And, when me and Werner spoke about this, I spoke about a lot of my podcasts, there is conversations to be had. We shouldn't be stopping. We need to keep getting those conversations going. I have a lot of people come up to me this week. I've been very active on it, and we need the messages out there because we need to understand some transparency in what's going on. We don't need to be led by headlines.
Yeah.
When the headline means Devils doesn't work, is a headline of Devils is not sustainable, or Devils doesn't add up numbers wise. We don't know that.
Yeah.
So we need to know that. We also need to be asking some questions of the ATP of their intention of what they want, where those Devils fit within their vision for the sport.
Yeah.
And then we've been getting the strategic planning and marketing and the product and all of those things. But I think one of the kind of nice storylines now, not that I want this to be singles against doubles, but I think there is maybe an extra edge now right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, I heard Henry say on the interview when they played Kovacevic and Kokkinakis in the semis, he was like, I can't lose, Yeah. So I was cool to hear him acknowledge that, got kind of the spark behind it.
We had it last year. We were in Monterey last year, but around we had a story of playing the mixed doubles, right?
Oh, yeah, that was wild.
I'm telling you right now, the whole of that place, we were watching everyone, including their flankers, everyone was cheering their own about the story.
Oh,
so you kind of, Bob McEnroe, I guess you sound close, this kind of, this rivalry is a good marketing strategy.
Yeah.
And I think it's beginning to see that as well. It's like, okay, let's get, some of these outspoken singles players. And again, I outspoken a lot around the help it. And I've actually thanked them for being outspoken because it's brought eyes to it.
Yeah.
So people with the marketing strategies and having people talking about others has to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
To go back to your question, I think it's been very interesting what's happened this year. I heard Big World was a word where there was going to be lots of changes.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't happen. So I won't necessarily say exactly who, but obviously Arevalo Pavic was the one that I think for a while people have been saying Arevalo Pavic has been quite outspoken that you can only play for someone for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think Arevalo been for 2.5 years now. But it's not like they become stale, but they've got a second wind.
Yeah.
And I would argue that right now they're potentially, behind Arevalo and they're potentially the best team in the world right now.
Yeah.
The most of our else just know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're a Grand Slam team. They're very difficult to beat in a Grand Slam.
Well, if they then reverts their Grand Slam finals portion of the last years.
Amazing. Professionals, Baristori and Balelli. Balelli's been struggling a little bit with injury. I don't know if Baristori's maybe been a little bit drained because he's been on one of the other sports. People know what's been happening with the Devils.
Yeah.
So he's on the board and he's doing a lot of different things and just very relaxed. They seem to be in a little bit of a struggle place right now.
Okay.
We've obviously got a new team that's doing very well in Paul Meeks and Viva. It's going to be interesting if one of Max Vassell comes back.
Yeah.
He's quite outspoken actually against doubles.
Oh, interesting.
He sees himself as a singles guy.
Oh, yeah.
So I think he will come back almost once to prove that doubles is easy.
Yeah.
So
half court tennis.
Yeah, exactly. So I think these narratives, they're nice narratives, right? It's good to We need the bit of excitement. We need, I love, like, when Henry Patton is like the prime minister one day, right? He speaks so beautifully.
I know. I read a story recently about how he is like such a polished spokesperson because like his accent helps, but also his speech at Wimbledon was very profound and just like very professional and like to the point. It's been nice to see him like take the mic for doubles.
It is, and he does it. He's doing it in a way that he needs to make change. We're not trying to disrespect anybody in this, right? We're all a team. This is what same with the doubles. This is tennis. This is how do we improve tennis? How do we promote tennis? How do we bring opportunities to tennis? It's one of the oldest political games in the book is to cause distraction and get people fighting against it.
Yeah.
And we should keep it to buy into that. And you only need that from a marketing standpoint of building a little bit of energy around matchups and things like that. But ultimately, we should be trying to continue to grow sports and grow the opportunities. And that's why I like how Henry speaks. He has a great way of speaking, he's not insulting anyone.
Yeah.
It's
not single versus double. It's like creating opportunities.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he's very classy in how he does it. And I think there's still a lot of conversations to be had on that. But I would also say that is coming from the best doubles player in the world right now.
Yeah.
That's where I also think that has an even stronger impact because he's genuinely giving. This is the last thing I'd say on this. He's doing something that's very, very, ever quite emotional on my podcast speaking about this. We should not disrespect anybody who is one of the, and I've been very fortunate as a coach to be a part of, it's like 7 Grand Slam finals. When you are there till the end of a Grand Slam, it is a monumental privilege. It's a monumental privilege that very few players in this world ever experience.
Yeah.
Similar Alcaraz have taken for the last 4 years on the single side. Djokovic then took it, Murray took it, Federer took it, Nadal took it. So very few guys get the opportunity. And how you are preparing to go out from a single of levels to play on the world stage on the biggest courts in the world. And I referenced, let's take the reason. All the Brazilians watching the reason.
Oh, yeah. They love their stars.
They do. And it's like, and to take that on your shoulders and to go into the fire and then perform and produce. So we're the biggest of events. How we can ever disrespect that people that do that is completely beyond it. So when you've got someone like Henry who's done that, he's now won 3 Wimbledons as a break. He's taken that on his shoulders, and then he can talk with such class and dignity afterwards about it. And these are the messages that we need to take. Because none of this needs to be like disrespecting any other fellow professionals. We all won, we all love the sport. Anyone that's got to the point where they're playing at these events has gone through years and years and years of hardship, difficulty, work, sacrifice, to be busy about the sport. And that's all I ever ask is let's please respect everyone with those things. And let's not go about this in the person that kind of disrespectful way. And for me, Henry is he's our James Bond.
Yeah, the Prime Minister. I like how you said that. Great, thanks, Dan. It's fun. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm going to send a photo to Will real quick. Awesome.
And thank you for what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
it really is appreciated. To have people that are taking up your time and your care and your messaging.
Oh yeah,
it goes a long way as well. So
likewise, thanks a lot.
There's a battle coming. This is not going to. I don't think this is going to be an easy.
Not going to be an easy one. Yeah.
No, it's not.
Do you think women's it's strictly to men's right now, or do you think it'll go everywhere?
I think it is the men's right now, and I think, and this is another thing that I would say on this. It's like I actually got asked this question. I've had a few coaches come up and say nice things this week who have been listening to the podcast. A lot of this is male ego.
Yeah.
And
like from the ATP leadership standpoint.
It's entitled, elitist. You name all of the kind of big groups, right? White, middle-aged, male, ego,
all the archetypes,
privileged, and the women. So the way that the ATP board is set up, the players actually don't really have a say. They actually get informed of decisions.
Oh, we're good. Thank you.
Whereas the women's is set up, and Gaby's a big part of this, the women's is set up as they are part of the decision-making team.
Oh, yeah.
So it's completely structured.
Like at the player council? Oh,
so Gaby's working 2-3 hours a day on player council things. So this sort of thing wouldn't just get pushed through on the women's side.
Yeah.
And then you also naturally have, because so much of it is personal agenda, and it really is.
Yeah.
This is why is that guy making so much money?
Yeah, the lower rank singles player.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Doubles Only Tennis Podcast. If you're interested in diving deeper into the world of doubles strategy, I've created Tennis Tribe memberships that allow me to bring you more podcast episodes, video lessons, webinars, and other doubles content on a weekly basis without relying on paid ads. The lessons inside the membership will help you better game plan with your partner, optimize your practices, and become the smartest player on the court. Go to thetennistribe.com/memberships to learn more and sign up. You can also join my free newsletter on our homepage, where I share a new doubles lesson every week. If you want to connect, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or contact me through our website. Thanks again for listening.